meeting called to order. The Recreation Committee meeting, Tuesday, March 13, 2008. Roll call. We have Councilman Valentine absent and Councilman Todd Lambert absent and Ms. Pam Ellis absent. Okay. I will do the invocation. Please stand. Lord, bless us today to make the decisions for this parish the right one. Bless the armed forces that are serving for this country. Lord, also bless the community here. Also, Lord, bless this government, and also bless the Little League, the baseball, recreation kids that are involved in recreation this season. And Lord, thank you. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Public comment period. You can sign up and you'll have 3 minutes. Okay, moving on to item number 4. We have the update here. We're going to adjust the recreation update by Director Sheriff Cantor. And Sheriff, before you give yours out, I would like to have SJB give their presentation. I mean, you know, do their first, and then we'll go down the list with yours. Okay?
Sounds
all right.
Good afternoon. My name is Eric Poche. I'm a landscape architect with SJB Group in Baton Rouge. Last year, as many of you know, the parish received a grant from the state to conduct a study on possible uses for remaining acreage at Lamar Dixon Expo Center, and we were charged with that task. One of the first tasks that we completed was an analysis of the existing condition of the parks and properties that are in Ascension Parish now, as well as to look at some of the maintenance and operations as they occur now at the Expo Center. And I think the main reason that recreation was, that we wanted to look at recreation possibilities for Lamar Dixon Expo Center was to keep in line with the mission statement of the Dixons. We have completed, as many of you may have, or some of you may have, a Phase 1 and 2 assessment, which included the existing parks, as well as some information on analysis based on national standards as far as the amount of parks, acreages, programs that the parish currently has, and we took those and compared them to national standards and found that the parish was lacking in many areas, including overall property, as it were. We touched lightly on the schools because the schools obviously have some property that they do not use, and ultimately I think it would be in best interest of the parish to look at cooperative agreements with the school board to try to utilize some of the existing acreages that they have. The main reason that, like I said, we looked at the existing park properties that the parish has was to show the deficiencies and to show the need for recreation at Lamar Dixon Expo Center. We completed 2 options of a site master plan for the 117 additional acres that are currently vacant at the Expo Center, and presented them at a public meeting 2 or 3 weeks ago. We got input from that meeting. Of course, a lot of it has to do with funding and finances, which is obviously understandable. And from that meeting and the input that we got, plus 2 charrettes that we had several months ago, we have compiled and settled on a singular final master plan, a site master plan for the remaining acreage. And we're currently in the process of performing maintenance and operation, or getting maintenance and operation data together, phasing and costing information. Probably within the next 2 to 3 weeks, we're going to present a 70 to 80% document to the parish for review, at which time we'll take recommendations and make any necessary revisions, and subsequently we'll present the final completed master plan at a meeting of the parish council.
Any question for Mr. Porcher?
I have a quick question.
Yes.
This last portion you're talking about is the Phase 3 portion of the plan?
Well, right now, we are pretty much just about done with Phase 3, which was to take the data and come up with a final master plan. Phase 4 is the implementation and operations and maintenance, and I hope to have that data completed within the next couple of weeks so we can start compiling it into a final document to submit a draft to the parish.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
And anybody have any other question for Mr. Porcher? All right, then, Mr. Porcher, thank you very much, and we'll be waiting for that final report.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Okay, now, Ms. Cheryl Kenton, you have the floor for the director update.
Thank you. Chairman Joseph, members of the Recreation Committee.
Excuse me, Ms. Cheryl, one moment.
Sure.
Ms. Senator, could you, Mr. Valentine is here. Okay, thank you.
Okay. General upkeep and maintenance of parks. Last night we had the LSU baseball. 8 of the team came out and did a free clinic for us at Santa Maria Park. Very well attended, over 200 players. Would like to commend the park department for having the field ready, and ABA for helping us get the word out through their registrations and their coaches meetings. Was a wonderful event. I will send pictures to you as soon as I have those from some of the coaches. The boat launch is done, other than the privacy fence. That has also been written and going in. Let's see the other things you asked for in here. Baseball fields, those are continuously being worked on. Mr. Garney Gotro has come on board and is offering us great assistance with our fields. We are also working to redo some of the fields and make them hopefully optimum. The 11-year-old field is closed at this time. We're doing some major work on it, so it will be closed until we start practice. Status on the parks, we still have 2 parks that are not compliant, Hillaryville and Mount Zion. So again, as we move into the future and we want to collaborate, let's keep in mind that those 2 parks are not compliant. I think I told you last month that we had not planned to put a bathroom at Santa Maria. We were going to upgrade. That is no longer possible. That plan and the plan for the Southwood bathroom have gone out for bids. So we hope to have that back within 3 weeks, and then we will give the contract for those 2 bathrooms. We will be putting porta cans for the 12-year-old field. We have an ADA bathroom at the back of Santa Maria Park. The 5-year outlook plan, I'm not real sure what the outlook plan is, if that's this document, but the 5-year plan is the one that we've been working on from 93-94, which included Butch Gore, includes upgrades, includes the Frisbee golf. So as you can see, we're still looking at not having enough money to bring us up to compliance. We will be moving into our appraisals in the month of April. Garney is also helping us with our department in terms of our employees. Softball, baseball, and t-ball registration is complete, other than filling in teams where we need those players. We hope to have the insurance in effect for Monday or Tuesday of next week. At that time, we will see teams out on the fields playing and practicing. We do have a 10 o'clock ordinance. We would like to see us try to get 3 games in, starting at 5 o'clock instead of 6. We will also be moving to some Saturday play as we try to solve the problem of officiating. We got the SCORP report from the state of Louisiana, which is their plan for comprehensive recreation in Louisiana. And I just wanted to read one of the executive summary. Funding is a problem across the state. Securing dedicated funding from the state has continued to dwindle. Every recreation department needs land. You've heard that over and over again. We continue to need access to our waterways. That's something we'd really like to get into more, is having our waterways accessible to kayaks and canoes and non-motorized boats. Martha Collins with the Grants Department has done a really wonderful job. We've written a grant, a one-time grant, that we were notified about through Dr. Mittendorf in the Mental Health Department. It's an $8,000 one-time award for a shade structure to try and prevent skin cancer. So we have applied for that $8,000 shade structure, highly competitive. It's a one-time grant, no matching funds. So we hope to be able to put a cover over one of our sets of bleachers. Having said that, I think for the most part, recreation is alive and well. Questions?
Anyone have any questions? I have one. Ms. Cheryl Kinch. You know, we're sitting up here again, and I'm kind of disappointed in that, because I was looking for some documentation up here so our board, our committee members could look at it, review it, what you just read off right there, so we can make our notes. I
The
don't see
executive
that.
score summary from the state?
Yes, I mean, you give your report, but we never get a copy of it. You know, we'd
Will
like
do.
to have that copy
Will do.
on the agenda, a copy of it up here with us.
Will do.
So if we have any question on it, we can make our comments on them and then ask you the question.
Yes, sir.
I do have a question.
Mr. Valentine?
Yeah, Ms. Cheryl, you mentioned about the ADA in the bathroom. Have we, and I may have spoke to Parish President about this too, I'm not sure I mentioned that too, but have we actively gone after grants dealing with bringing all of our ballparks up to ADA
We are
compliance?
looking into grants, but it's hard to find a grant just to bring something into compliance when that is a role of government, when we should be bringing those up to compliance. We really thought with the one bathroom we would be able to upgrade, but once we got the building department in there, we found that it does not meet building codes. So as our structures deteriorate, even though we may find a grant to upgrade, this building is a good example of how upgrade would not work. It would not meet building or fire codes. So, but we will continue to actively look for those grants.
Who is Ms. Collins look for that?
Yes, Ms. Collins looks for grants.
And
then
the reason why I say that because the late Bill Evans, who ran the recreation department, I remember when I first took office 4 years ago, we ran into him on our first trip to Washington, and he was up there seeking a $500,000 grant or part of it, and he was dealing with ADA, and he was very close to getting that, and he was stopped in his tracks on that. Unfortunately, was told that wasn't going to be needed. But point being is, I just feel that that's an area that there should be some money available, and I'd appreciate you guys if you could pursue that as much as possible.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I have one more question. On the insurance, how we stand with the insurance? I know you sent me an email and
We're just waiting. We spoke before the meeting tonight. We're just waiting. I think they're taking registrations to fill in those teams that are not full. Other than that, I think registration is closed. They've started their previews. So I'm thinking registration is closed. We hope to put the numbers in tomorrow. And then, you know, we're trying to shoot for the 17th for their first day of practice.
I have a quick question. If we have any children that come late to the parish, move here late or whatever, and they want to participate in the teams, are they going to have insurance?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
If they're signed up to play, they'll be insured.
Okay, but if they come, say, after the registration, what is it? They don't get to play?
No, as I just stated, we're taking late registrations only to fill teams.
Okay.
But the general registration is closed. I think they've already had 2 previews. So
Okay.
yeah, I think one was rained out tonight because of the weather. So
Okay. But there's some
yeah.
slots where they can put some latecomers.
But I think that's all we're trying to do is fill latecomers.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Mr. President.
On the Harryville Park, you say it's not in non-compliance. Has anybody used that park in any number of years?
I've only been here 2.5 years, but no, it has not been used since I was here. And when I was on the governing board, I don't remember using Hillaryville.
Well, we had cleaned it up one time in
We've
the
cleaned it up.
mid-'90s, and I don't think anybody used it at that time. So
No, we went out with, as a matter of fact, Eric and I went out and took pictures at Hillaryville. There is some construction going on next to Hillaryville with the church.
That's a sewer, too.
So we're really hoping that once that develops a little bit more and there's more visibility, that park will be brought into compliance. But there is a baseball field there, so that would help us with that regard.
Thank you.
I have one other question. Is the lights repaired?
We are adding lights at Stevens. We have an annual that covers the maintenance, but when we had to add lights, that required another rec. Yes, they are going in.
Are they going to be ready by March 20th?
Yes, the sun was out there again today. They will be ready.
I mean, I'm asking these questions because I get these emails, and I know we have stated that we was going to have some of these things done. And that's one of the things.
I don't know if
Can
I've
you
gotten
also provide a cost of how much money you're investing in these parks out of our budget?
Yes, sir, we're doing that now. Finance gave us a huge packet, and we're pulling through that now to try to put it into cost centers.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions? Huh? All right. Well, I have a couple. Ms. Cheryl, thank you. I have a couple public speakers out there, and I'm gonna go with Mr. Darren Trahan. Tom, you want to go? Tom, Brad Thompson.
Byron.
Byron, come on.
Byron Barlow.
Mr. Byron, you have 3 minutes, okay?
Okay. For the past 3 years, we've notified Park and this Recreation Committee for the past year, at least, about some inadequacies, some severe inadequacies of boys baseball. And we're at the start of another season, and I hopefully see a little bit of progress, but I'm still not sold yet, okay? The three things that I'm here to talk about are umpires, lighting, and field conditions. Now, let me say first, last week I had the privilege to meet Mr. Garney Gotra at Stevens Park, just happened to be out there, and after speaking with him, it seems like there's a guy who understands the concerns that we have. I'm not putting any words in his mouth. He can tell you for himself. When I said some of the things that we've had concerns over, he kind of agreed with everything we talked about, that there was some severe inadequacies here. So I was really pleased that the folks he had out there looking at the field. So it gives me a little cause for optimism, cautiously optimistic, obviously. Okay, so I'm very pleased to see him on board and see him working towards things. And also, after meeting with Parish President Tommy Martinez, I really had a good feeling that he was really in this to help us and try and get us moved along here. So, again, we've been promised before by parish presidents and council members. So, we feel good, but cautiously optimistic. Park has done a few minor improvements out on the fields. Got new batting racks, got new benches. Did some other little things. We asked. They extended the equipment shed. Of course, we can't use the equipment or have a key to it or improve the fields, but the equipment shed is bigger now, and the equipment's in there. They also got all the scoreboards working except one so far. We got one that still needs a little. Well, if she got it working, that's great. So let's talk about umpires. Umpires, we met with Ms. Kinchin and Brett Lato. He's the umpire in chief this year for the boys baseball. We didn't get a straight answer on how many umpires have signed up already. So I don't feel like the umpire situation, quantity-wise, is going to be anywhere near what we need. Okay. A few of the things that came out of that meeting is basically everybody understands that boys baseball needs 10 to 14 umpires a night to manage all the games from 7-year-olds to 18-year-olds. And one good thing that came out of the meeting was Ms. Kinchin agreed that we should start hiring 16 and 17-year-olds to do the 7 and 8-year-old age groups. Okay. Again, we've been making that suggestion for years. We're just wondering why it takes so long for it to get implemented.
Ms. Byron, you have 30 seconds.
Mr. Joseph, I'm going to respectfully ask for a little bit more time. I'm not going to go much over.
Mr. Byron, you had 30 seconds. We got to move on with it. This night is a night that we have numerous meetings.
Okay.
And I mean,
Well, I'm gonna just say what I got to say, and umpires. I feel like Brett Lato's got his heart in the right place, but again, I don't see where anything was done by Park to help the situation a while back. All of a sudden now, at the last minute, we're going to try and do some things. So again, I think we're going to be in a bad situation with the umpires. Field lighting. I know there was some lights added to the 10-year-old field, and again, if they got some more lights added this week, terrific. I hope it improves, okay? Because that's, to me, is the second biggest safety hazard we have out there. The first biggest safety hazard is the field conditions. Tonight, we had to cancel our 8-year-old preview on a day that never had any rain, okay? To me, that's unacceptable, okay? Part of the reason for that is because we haven't been allowed to work the fields at all this year.
okay, Mr. Byron, that's your 3 minutes.
Mr. Joseph, I really want to finish this, okay? I've waited. You've put me off for over a year now, okay?
Mr. Byron, you know what? This is starting to be a habit here with 3 minutes under this new administration. And I'm going to give you, all your respect, and I'm going to ask you,
understand that.
please take your seat, okay? Or for the next couple of meetings, I'm going to make a motion that we get law enforcement for these meetings, Mr. President. Okay? Your 3 minutes is up, Mr. Boyd.
Okay.
Mr. Brad Thompson. Mr. Brad Thompson, you have 3 minutes. Okay.
First, I guess I need to ask why we're not on the agenda, because we were on the agenda when y'all asked us to respectfully not show up for y'all's meeting last time. And it was kind of made to look around like, where's ABA at? When y'all asked us not to come to the meeting, so we didn't appreciate that too much. But anyway, Ricky Babin, the parish attorney, stood in front of y'all last meeting with a compromise settlement for the money that is owed ABA from PARC. I think y'all's exact response to him was you needed to check with legal. And if I recall correctly, he is the legal advisor for the parish. So I was kind of confused as to why y'all would be checking with anybody else other than the guy that was right in front of you telling you that he had a settlement agreement in your hands. So I brought that agreement back today, and if you'd like to see it, I'm going to pass it around up front. It's section 5. It says compromise. It's a legal agreement that says a settlement so that we can move on, get our monies that's been owed to us for 2 years now from a parish as big as Ascension Parish owning an organization, boys baseball, $17,000. We ought to be charging interest because this is ridiculous. The final numbers, $888 is what we need the insurance for. We were thinking it was going to be for the weekend because we don't have much time to practice. If somebody can call the insurance company tomorrow, I'm sure we can have insurance in place by Thursday. $888 is the final numbers. There's so many things I don't even know where to start, but we've given such little time with all the efforts and times that we put into this program. It's an embarrassment for us to even come here. So I'm going to get through this. I think y'all are talking about putting 10% ordinance back on the books, which meant it was never on the books before. So I would just go ahead and do the settlement agreement, and we can get all this stuff behind us. I've got invoices if we need them, but I don't think we should have to come up with invoices. I think that we can trust Ricky Babin, your attorney, to do a settlement agreement like we got up there with you and get our $17,000. With that money, we're going to buy stuff for the ballparks, for the boys. We want to buy covers so that, it rains every day during baseball season. If If you're going to rain out every day it rains, you're never going to have a game. You know, last year we had the fields in such good shape that we
Mr. Thompson, you have 30 seconds.
Thank you. We could not get rained out unless it was raining or storming on us during the event. You know, we asked for, exclusions or whatever so that we could use the equipment we've been using the last 14 years to fix these fields properly. You know, they're going backwards, they're not going forward. You don't start major work on a ball field the week before you're supposed to start practice. You know, we've had a long time before this season started. And, I think it's not a good excuse that we're working on the field so the fields are closed.
All right, Mr. Thompson, your 3 minutes are up.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman, can I ask a question, Mr. Thompson? Can I do that?
You're addressing to Ms. Cheryl Kinch.
Okay, I don't know that she'll have an answer, but I can ask her. I can ask her.
As soon as these speakers get up, I'm gonna bring it to them. Mr. Darren Trahan.
Good evening to all. I've got to repeat Brad's sentiments. Lack of better terms, folks, I'm going to keep it simple. It's a joke, okay? We've got hundreds of people involved that come out there and volunteer their time to produce a result for a bunch of kids. We've been talking about this in this committee for a year. Scoreboards are not working. There's a 12-year-old scoreboard that's sitting at Centermall Park on the ground. It's a hazard, and it's just laying on the ground. Fences have not been repaired. All we hear is contracts are written. Okay? That's facts. Base covers are ripped apart. Last weekend, they were buried. Okay? Is this the best that we can do for our children in this parish? We stopped the volunteers from getting out on the fields and fixing these problems for the parish, and it still doesn't get done. I like to think I live in a community that's better than this, that we can get a better quality result. And believe me, I would love nothing better to come in here month in and month out and sing the praises of this parish. Okay? If you want video, I've got it. If picture's worth 1,000 words, video ought to be worth 1,000,000. Okay? Never before has so much time passed and so little been done. I'm just telling you, folks, that's the facts. We can talk about it till the cows come home. Okay? But until leadership is willing to get behind this and make it a priority and deliver the result, this is what we have. I can't fix it. We've been handcuffed. But yet we still volunteer and register almost 900 kids this season. If the fields had been prepared properly, they'd be out there holding their preview and lining up their teams tonight. Apparently it can be done in the parish. EA's across the street practicing. Okay? I don't know who's responsible, but everybody knew about it. Somebody should have done something. Anybody could have. Nobody did. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah, one more speaker, Mr. David Ellis.
First, I thank you, committee, for the opportunity to speak. You need to know what's going on in Ascension Parish baseball, and apparently some of the other folks have already begun to talk about that a little bit. My family's been in Ascension Parish since 1999, and I've been involved in coaching for the last 3 years. The current state of boys baseball officiating in Ascension Parish is absolutely deplorable, and it has gotten worse over the last several years. Let me be clear about one thing. The quality of the officiating is not what I have to complain about. When the officials are present, I think they do a pretty good job. The problem is that we do not have officials for most of the games, or for a lot of the games. In the boys 13 and 14-year-old baseball last year, we had at least 4 games without officials. 1 game was never played. Others we had to get a parent from the stands as the only official, And in one game, we had a very involved parent who's not even a part of our league come in and fill in as the only official for that game. This state of affairs to me is unacceptable. I grew up in baseball about an hour and a half from here, and a first-class operation in every respect. I know how good it can be. This ain't a first-class operation that we're running here. It's disgraceful. Not having 2 officials for every game is not fair to the parents who rush home from work to make it to the ball game on time. It's not fair for the coaches who sometimes are working their work schedules and their shifts to make it to the ball games to coach these kids. But most importantly, it's not fair to the kids. Drastic changes need to be made, and they need to be made now so that we can get this fixed in time for this baseball season, which is, as you know, here upon us. Last year, I spoke with league officials, I spoke with coaches, I spoke with parents, and I spoke with somebody who's supposedly in charge about officiating, and this problem was supposed to be getting better, but it's only gotten worse. I've heard the buck being passed from person to person. This person said and that person said. Frankly, I'm tired of hearing excuses and promises. I'm ready to see something happen. From all I can gather, this problem is a direct result of gross mismanagement of officiating. Whether it's incompetence or a lack of proper attention, the person or persons that are responsible for this have failed this parish and has failed its kids in the most miserable way. And I hope that through your leadership we can do something about it. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Ellis. We have one more speaker, Mr. Joey Martinez. Martin.
I'd just like to give my 3 minutes to Brad.
That's great.
Appreciate it, Joey. What I'd like to ask this body is, what is our role? Mine as the president of ABA Baseball and our board, because we do have a board made up of park commissioners for both parks, and I understand the new strategy is to put park commissioners at the parks and pay them. Well, you know, we don't get paid. We're volunteers, so we'd like to see some of that money going towards the program rather than to pay people to do the same thing we're already doing. Second, the first time I've ever heard of us playing 3 games starting at 5 o'clock at night was tonight, after we've already have schedules made up. George, how hard was it for you to get here at 5 o'clock?
It was tough.
Okay, there's 12 kids on the team. Both parents work, and the kids go to school. How many forfeits are we going to have trying to play baseball games at 5 o'clock in the afternoon? You know, we'd like to think that with our organization we have some kind of say-so in what is going to happen with our program. We were told all last year that, you know, we were running the program. Nobody was going to tell us when we're playing, what we're playing, what rules to play by. Yet at every turn we're told what we can and cannot do. And I'd like to know what has changed from 8 months ago till today, because it's totally changed from our end of the deal. You know, we have access to no equipment, whereas we had full access before. You know, we made all of our own schedules. You know, I personally typed up a CEA agreement 4 times in the past 8 months. You know, only to find out that, you know, I asked Tommy for a copy because, you know, he said they had a copy that was ready to go out, the one I just gave y'all. Somebody from his office sent it to me. I don't think Tommy was aware that supposedly the CEA was dead also. You know, I guess what we're trying to find out is what part of respect are we supposed to receive from everybody we're working with if nothing we do matters or is appreciated. I'm having a hard time asking people to volunteer, and I can't even tell them when we're going to do anything, what we can do, and I'm the president of the league. You know, everybody wanted to talk about ABA baseball during election season. We heard plenty of we're for ABA, we're for rec ball, we're for this, we're for that.
You have
but
30
as soon
seconds,
as that
Mr.
vote hit, we hadn't heard anybody talking about it.
Thompson.
I'm done again?
No, you have 30 seconds.
Oh, okay. All right. So, I mean, we really didn't just come here to talk for 3 minutes apiece and then have the meeting end. We'd like to get some answers. I mean, is anybody prepared to give answers, bring it before the full council, or are we just wasting our time again? Can anybody answer that?
Well, we have to turn that back to the director of recreation. I mean, if you finish, Mr. Thompson, I mean, you want the answers, I mean.
I have some comments, but that's...
Mr. Valentine?
Well, I'm going to let Mr. Thompson go ahead and finish it, and we'll have some comments.
I'm done.
Okay, thank you, Brad.
Valentine?
Yes, thank you, Chairman Joseph. I guess, let me clarify something to start off with. And I know you guys know this, and I know the administration knows this. We're legislators. We get elected as legislators. We set policies. If there's some policies that's not being followed, we have to have the administration to follow up. We don't want to become a session where you guys have to come here and complain all the time. We listen to what you guys have to say and the ABA has to say, and we know you fellows do a great job. There's no doubt about it. But it's the administration's problem. It's our problem because we're the elected officials that set policy. So if policy is not being followed, it's Mr. Martinez's job to make sure that Ms. Kinchin does her job. And it's Ms. Kinchin's job to make sure that her and Mr. Gautreaux get the fields ready to do what they're supposed to do. We do not have, I cannot go to Mr. Kinchin and tell Ms. Kinchin, you have to do this. That's not my role. That's Mr. Martinez's role. She answers Mr. Martinez. I want it all solved. I'm sure we said that last year. And guys, I don't know how to convince you of that, but we really are powerless unless the parish president steps into this and says he's going to fix it. Now, he said he's going to fix it already, and I'm waiting for him to fix it because I'm getting tired of hearing it not being fixed. And if anybody can fix it, Goni Gautreaux can fix it. So I'm depending on him to get it fixed. Can I ask Mr. Gautreaux a question, Mr. Martinez? Is there a scoreboard that's not working, Goni?
Not at Stevens Park.
Okay, the gentleman mentioned there's a scoreboard in the dirt laying on the ground. Is it? Why is it not fixed? Yes. I mean...
Why don't you bring... Yeah, okay.
The scoreboard that was on the 12-year-old field, we are trying to get that moved. We do not have the wherewithal, so we are working with DPW to move that. We have ordered a new scoreboard for the 12-year-old field. All the scoreboards at Stevens Park work. All the scoreboards that are at Santa Maria Park work. You can check that with technology, as baseball did, called Mr. Woodard to find out that, yes, the scoreboards were working. He was out again. We had a power problem on the 11-year-old field at Stevens.
When are we going to get it fixed?
It's fixed.
Okay.
It's fixed.
Okay.
All the scoreboards work. The new one will be in.
Okay.
The scoreboards work.
Okay. Mr.
Sure.
Thompson,
Right,
if they're not fixed, please let me know. Boy, Mr. Gautreaux, you don't know how long I waited for this.
Thank y'all. They're right. The fields are not in the best shape. We're working on it. We've brought someone in that's, I would say, as a field expert. And it won't be done this year. I mean, you got dirt work and stuff that you can't do in a month and all that. We'd be stupid to go ahead and start tearing up fields right now. But we're going to give them the best playing shape we can. But whenever we play them fields to death, practice them all day, play them at night, play them all the way through June to July and August. It don't give you much time to get fields ready like it should be, like they want them to be ready. And we've got to make some tough decisions in the next 3 months at how much we're going to use those fields whenever this season's over with league play. And also, if you want a good field, you got to sacrifice also. You know?
Okay. All right, Gordon. That's all. I'm going to pass on this opportunity. Let me answer. I think it was Mr. Brad maybe that talked about. We received, most councilmen probably received an email I think you guys came up with an agreement 5-6 pages long. If I could be wrong on this, but when Mr. Babin presented this to us at the last recreational meeting, in fact, I'm the one that said it. My quote was not that he had to check with legal. I wanted him to check with you guys to make sure that this was agreeable, because you fellas had 5 or 6 pages that he essentially chopped down to this 2.5-page agreement, and he is the legal authority. But I didn't want the administration coming with something, and he couldn't answer the question that whether you guys were in agreement with this. That was my only thing. If you guys were in agreement with this, we did not have a problem with it. I mean, if you guys are in agreement with this right here, and Ms. Cheryl's in agreement, and the administration, Mr. Martin is in agreement, this will go on the agenda.
And finance.
Yeah, and finance. I mean, well, that's administration. So I mean,
I think Mr. Joseph met with Lindsay Manda in a meeting.
Correct.
Maybe he can shed a little light on that meeting. I did not attend.
And I met with Miss Amanda based on your comments on that there to get with the administration on that. And that's what we did. We reviewed it, and it came down to the same thing. It didn't have any receipts.
Okay.
I mean, today they say they have receipts, but no one never had receipts. And I went and talked to finance on this, George. This agreement is,
Okay, well, I mean, that hasn't been communicated to us that's the holdup. So, I mean, if these guys need to bring receipts, then, I mean, and look, gentlemen, I mean, we're not the people. Right here's the gentleman. You sure, absolutely. Well, Mr. Joseph, that's your meeting.
The legal department for the parish made Section 5 compromise settlement agreement. I don't. There's nothing in there that says you need receipts for a settlement, guys.
And Mr. Valentine, just let me clarify that. Okay, that was Mr. Ricky Babin. Also, the administration have a legal attorney. Okay, Miss Lindsay
Manda, who's also council attorney.
That's right.
Not just parish
She
president.
was involved in a meeting with us, with Ricky Babin, to come up with the compromise settlement.
And we went to our other meeting, and it came back down to receipts, John.
Okay.
That's
all right.
how it's simple.
Parish president, can you shed some light? I mean, is this Mr. Joseph? I'm a trustee.
We are, again, we can't execute this document without properly receipted documents or proper receipts according to finance. Now, I would hope that at some point we would get a recommendation from this committee also. I mean, I'm not trying to pass the buck, but I haven't been involved in any of these talks. I think Mr. Joseph has been meeting with Ms. Manda.
Okay.
So,
okay, this is the okay. We'll negotiate it right now. This is the gist of it. Ricky Babin, who is the lead ADA, who also Miss Manda also works for the attorney. I mean, parish, Mr. Falterman, district attorney. He said that this is a comparable agreement and we can take it without receipts. Is that my gist of it? Is that what this amendment says?
That's the debate.
But now you're telling me Lindsay Manda, who works with the parish through, says that we can't. Okay.
That along with Ms. Gwen LeBlanc, who will
but
not.
it's not for this. It's not for us to solve this. If you want to solve it, we'll solve it with a motion. But it's for you to make the recommendation on what you want to do. If you don't want to do it, because you're the administrator. I mean,
I can make the decision, George, but I mean, if you want me to make these decisions, we don't even need a recreation committee.
Well, wait.
Because
this is not a recreation. This is a legal decision through administration.
Decision, but it involves more than $10,000.
Okay.
On a settlement, it has to go before the council according to your rules.
Okay.
So what it needs to be.
If Ricky Babin is making this decision, I'm going to take Ricky Babin on the experience of the fact of him over Miss Manda. And I mean, you want to get personal on this? I'll get personal.
No.
All right.
Well, I mean, I'll make the motion through this committee.
Send it to the finance committee. That should be the proper thing. Like we would do any other settlement. If this is going to come before, send it to the finance committee. Let the finance committee recommend it to pay it. We don't have a problem in doing that, but we can't just write a check for $19,000 without going through the council. I mean, any contract, anything above $10,000 has to have council approval.
Okay. I'm going to yield to Mr. Joseph then. I certainly don't want to ramrod or anything, brother. I will take back my motion. You tell me how you're going to solve this. Between the two attorneys. Because we got two attorneys that work for the district attorney's office that right now is in disagreement. So how do we solve it?
Then we'll get an agreement between those two attorneys.
And bring it back to us as soon as possible.
And based on that agreement, that's where we'll make our decision from.
One more thing, if you don't mind. All three of those are separate issues. All are under $10,000. There's $3,500, there's $3,700, and there's $9,000, guys. You can write 3 separate checks. But thanks.
The administration can write 3 separate checks. Let's make sure of that.
We will handle the situation, I will tell you. It's not a problem. I mean, I was certainly, George, waiting for a recommendation from this committee. Now, and that's what I mean. If you directing me to settle this matter, this committee is, I will certainly do so. But I don't want to override anything, cause a problem, and I go sign the check, give the check, and then I get 10 phone calls from committee chairmen and councilmen saying, why'd you do that? I mean, all I'm asking is, okay, is this council or this committee in agreement with this agreement that Ricky Babin drafted? If you say fine, I don't have a problem. So, but if you want me to handle it, I'm just going to tell you, don't come back and have. I don't want a bunch of council people calling me, councilman calling me and chewing me out for doing it. And I'd like to have Ms. Gwen LeBlanc's input on this also, and I will do that. I will set that meeting up. We will handle it. So it's the recommendation, I guess, of this committee, for the parish president and administration to handle this situation. Okay.
Yes, sir.
I got you.
Mr. Chris Lohr.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That's what I was going to say. I want to get this resolved. I mean, I've only been on this committee for 2 months, but seeing the flurry of offline conversations and emails and all the history behind this, and this is ridiculous. I know these folks volunteer. I know we have our own internal issues, finance issues, in terms of not enough funding, et cetera. But we need to resolve this one way or the other, and this years of fighting. And I'll tell you what, one comment really bothered me too. Outside of all this is the 5 o'clock, moving the games without necessarily working together with the APA and bringing that to their attention. I mean, that obviously impacts them, and that's just, I think, a pretty poor example of working together. You guys both want the same thing, and that's kids to have a good time playing baseball. So I would ask that those kind of decisions, just happen together in the future. And let's get this out of the way and resolved.
Ms. Burrett.
Yes, sir. Just one quick comment and one quick question for Ms. Kinchin. I don't know who told y'all to stay away from the last meeting, but as a Citizen Advisory Committee member, I am extremely upset at the moment that someone should suggest to our citizens not to come to a public meeting. I don't know what the circumstances are surrounding that, but I know you can't answer that, Ms. Sherry, but I was told I had no. The next question is for you. The next question is for you.
We had a meeting at Stevens Park. You were there, Mr. Joseph, and Parish President Mr. Martinez was there, and we were asked at that meeting. Several council people were there, and we were asked at that meeting to not attend the February Recreation Committee. I think it was Mr. Dempsey Lambert was the one who even said it, former member of this committee, okay, who's not on it this year for some reason. And he said that we should give him more time. Now, it's not like we haven't given him a year already. Give him more time. Don't come to the next meeting. Let us talk about this and work on it. So we said, okay, that's just fine. That's what we'll do. And so we sat back and watched it and started to fume.
Well, I can understand the request for more time because we have new players, we have new people who are trying to get some things done. So I totally understand the request for new time. But, I mean, these are public meetings. These are public meetings, and our citizens should be welcome at these meetings. Now, the question I have for Ms. Sherry is specifically about the fencing. I was out at the field last night. The big field looked nice to me. The smaller field, the fencing on it was just really, really bad. I mean, it's curled in like 1.5 to 2 feet into the field. When is the fencing going to be fixed?
Well, AMCO is out at Stevens finishing up. They're still working in those 4 parks that we've written. So I expect it will be done by Monday. I mean, we've gone out and flagged them. Yeah, you brought me a little cap off their fence last night. But I would like to clarify something. There is no 5 o'clock game this year. I said we would like to move to 3 games a night, but there has been no decision on the part of Recreation to just arbitrarily start 5 o'clock games. So I apologize if I gave you the wrong impression. There's been no decision. I said we would like to do 3 games a night, as does the city of Gonzales, 3 games a night. So we are exploring options as well, but there has been no decision to play 3 games a night starting at 5 o'clock. So just want to correct that confusion.
Ms. Sharon, I have one question, Ms. Sharon. On the, never mind. Forget about that.
I got one also.
Go ahead, Mr. President.
I'm sorry, I've kind of been out of the loop for a while, but
Play on words?
yes.
Been to Dallas.
Anyway, Sherry, as far as the umpire situation, I know that that's been a problem over the last few years, just reading the paper. Could you shed a little light on that with us, please?
Well, I think, I'm not sure which one of the ABA board members told you that we have moved to 16 and 7-year-olds, which we had moved away from because we didn't think that they were able to handle some of the games. We have asked for 16 and 17-year-olds to come back to do strictly the 7 and 8-year-old league. We also have asked some of the coaches to sign up as officials so that should we have a situation in, say, the 7-year-old league, the 9-year-old coaches or something can fill in the slack there. So, yes, finding the umpires will continue to be a problem, but we are signing up 2 or 3 a day. As far as a finite number, no, I don't have that now. I thought Brett Lato did a good job with what he had last year. I thought the meeting that we had last Monday with ABA was a good meeting. I continue to tell them they need to keep that line of dialogue open between the scheduler and the leagues, but I do believe that the Recreation Department should have a hand in scheduling. I do think the umpire scheduler should be in there as they schedule games to make sure that we can cover that. To me, that's just good business, so we will continue to do that. But I will keep you posted via email how many we have as they continue. I can't predict whether or not we will have enough. I'm hopeful. We are trying all we can, signing up as many as we can, and ABA is helping us do that. At some point, if we can't man the games that we have, we may have to do similar to Gonzales, and we may just have to limit the number of players. We just took over 20 players from the city of Gonzales who does have a finite number that they can handle. We don't turn anyone away, and we don't want to turn anyone away, but if the umpire or the officiating problem continues to escalate, that may be where we're headed, is to have a finite number in our leagues. The 7 and 8-year-old league, by their own admission, has grown, so that is the reason we would like to move to some rotating Saturdays. I think they need to continue working with the department and finding those realistic solutions. It isn't going to be to everyone's liking or convenience. But we are continuing to work on the umpire problem, and we're hopeful that we are solving that problem.
How many do you have signed up to the
I would say we probably have about 40 or 45 signed
umpires?
up. Well, our basketball officials are coming over now that the season's over, and they will be registering as well.
How many do you need?
Well, I think you heard one of the ABA board members say they need 14 a night, we said?
14 a night.
10 to 14 a night with the 2 with baseball, and then we have Butch Gore, which is another 6 fields.
Okay, so we need
we need 12. We need about 30 a night, 30 to 35 a night. Now, keep in mind, some of those are only going to be doing adults. Some of those are only signing up for baseball. Some are only signing up for softball. Some are only signing up for 1 night a week as their schedule permits. So when they had the meeting, Brett Lato, who schedules our officials, tries to explain the give and take there. It's going to be impossible for us every night to have an umpire who's going to come every night. I think what Brett was trying to explain to them with the rotating Saturdays is if you give them a third Saturday or every third Saturday, they have an opportunity to make $200 a day, and then you can get them out there at night. But these guys are working too for basically peanuts. So we are working to solve the problem. It is going to be a problem, I think, because you're asking people to come in for part-time wages at 6 o'clock. Many are in school. We don't generally get a lot of full-time employees coming out after jobs to do officiating. We do have some, but we are attacking the problem, and we think we're going to solve it.
Sure. On the park commissioners, the ABA, one of the ABA board members said that there's going to be some overlap there between what they do and us appointing a park commissioner. Can we explain
No,
that?
that's not true. Well, we're still looking into the park commissioner thing, so if you don't mind, I'd rather wait and tell you when that job description is complete. But I can promise you that the park commissioners will not be coaching on the fields. They will not be officiating. They will not be there just to clean the bathrooms or to pick up litter. They will be the definitive authority on closing the park if it's raining or lightning. We will make those calls at 5 o'clock. But the parish has got to be the definitive factor in deciding if a field is going to close because of lightning. And that I feel pretty adamant about. The fields belong to the parish, and if there's lightning, unless we're going to spend thousands of dollars on a lightning detection system, the parish has to be the ultimate authority of the parks they own.
Okay. All right. All right. Any more questions? All right. Moving on to item B that we crossed over, and that was ABA. They have ABA, but it has nothing to do with ABA. It's a 10% concession ordinance. This is up for just review. So if you have any questions, just for review. Okay? All right, moving to item number 5, West Ascension Recreation update. I'm just giving you an update. You have a copy of the agreement in there, and the city of Donaldsonville have changed some stuff in it, and this is the changes was made in it, and they have their copy, and we're waiting for their response on it. That's where we're at with West Ascension Recreation. We have no agreement with West Ascension for recreation. Item number 6, master plan discussion, and I have Ms. Jonette Barrett.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Let's see, I've been on the committee now for about a year and a half, close to it. And we come up here every month, and I know what we're doing. We're trying to work very hard on meeting the recreational needs of the citizens in the parish. My question is, how do we know what the recreational needs of the citizens of the parish are? As long as I've been on here, I am not aware that we have really gone out to the citizenry and asked them, what do you want in terms of recreational programs and facilities? I know with regard to specific parks, there have been some town meetings, but I'm not aware of anything since I've been up here where we've really gone back to the citizens and asked them what they want. And in people talking to me, they've not been asked what they want. I know that in the Lamar-Dixon Expo Center Recreation Master Plan, there were some citizen involvement meetings in there to come up with a proposed list of recreational programs. This is the first part of the plan. This is the second part of the plan. This is the community involvement part of the plan. Okay? We had 2 citizen input meetings. I went to the first one at Santa Maria Rec Center, and there were probably about 6 or 7 citizens there, in addition to Ms. Kinchin and the consultants. I think at the Geismar meeting there was probably 3 or 4 citizens there, and yet we have a proposed list of recreational programs based on that input. I really don't think that's a statistically valid sampling or in any way, shape, or form something we can really use in determining what we need to do in terms of recreational programs. I would offer in contrast, this is just a contrast, and I did give you a handout, and I do have a handout for you, Ms. Kinchin, too, if you'd like it. Okay. Back in 2003, 2004, a citizens' needs assessment was done 10 miles down the road in Baton Rouge by a consultant firm Bucher, Willis, and Ratliff. Let me just give you some very brief examples of what they did. This was part of your Imagine Your Parks program. They held over 100 public meetings. Now, granted, East Baton Rouge Parish was about 412,000 people at the time. We've got, 110,000 or so here in the parish right now. But roughly speaking, 25% of what they did. They had 3 different types of meetings. They held meetings in the little neighborhoods surrounding each one of the parks. They had area meetings covering multiple facilities in the same region. They had citywide meetings for all residents. In addition to that, they had focus group meetings with community leaders, some examples of some of the groups they reached out to: the YWCA, the YMCA, the Arts Council, Friends of Magnolia Mound, the Baton Rouge Garden Center, the mountain bikers, the skateboarders, Friends of Magnolia Mound. All of this is in a document I gave you, the citizen involvement document for Imagine Your Parks. Now, this is the citizen involvement portion of their plan, and this is duplexed. You can see there's quite a bit more done here. In addition to that, they also had a survey that was done. The people who did this determined that for the population at the time to get a statistically valid response, they had to get 500 surveys back from the households that were surveyed. They got 516. By all standards, this was a successful endeavor in finding out what the people in East Baton Rouge Parish wanted in terms of their parks. They passed a huge, huge fiscal proposal to fund development of parks and recreation in East Baton Rouge Parish. The name of I would like to recommend that you take a look at this consultant firm that did this, Bucher Willis Ratliff Corporation. I gave you some information on them. They have a proven track record. In addition to the Baton Rouge plan, they also did something for Raleigh, North Carolina. I don't see how we can talk about delivering programs to people at any facility until we know what the people want. And so I would like to recommend that we move forward in trying to get some community assessment done to find out exactly what the citizens in the parish want in terms of parks and their park facilities. Thank you.
Anybody have any questions for Ms. Boone? No question? Thank you very much, Ms. Brown. Item number 7 is a report on the NACO conference from Washington, D.C., the National Parks and Recreation. I provided a little couple items here, and we met with the National Parks and Land and Water Conservation that we'll get funding from, and my first item on here, we just have a list of parks that we have got funding over the years, and as you can see, we have got numbers of dollars from that. But the surprising thing when I was sitting in the meeting was when Mr. Johnson, the head of National Parks and Recreation, he told us that the United States had a budget of $25 million. Okay, and then I was sitting there and I was just amazed, and I had to make sure he clarified that. When I say the whole United States, he said yes, $25 million for parks and recreation. I mean, and just in Louisiana, we sent up a request on it. We sent up a request for $125 million for parks and recreation. They gave us last year $469,000. So as you can see, right now there's no money. And out of that 460, I just did some numbers off the top. You know, that means each parish in the state of Louisiana, of 64 of them, they would get $7,330 from that $469. Also, the $125 million is basically going to New Orleans parks, the coastline, and so. I mean, the money that they have, any money that comes in the state is normally going to the coastline right there. And then also, on the last page, I have some for Louisiana who have requested that is being presented by the legislature districts. And Ascension Parish do not have a program in here. I mean, we have Assumption, we have Acadian, we have East Baton Rouge, we have St. Mary's, we have Tangier Hole, we have Union, we have Washington Parish. They all have a major park that they are asking money to come from the congressional party. Ascension Parish don't. And that falls right back to our master plan. We do not have a master plan, and to get our legislature to push for that money, we need a plan to put it to Congress to have them push for it. And that's just my update on what we did in Washington, D.C. on recreation. Anybody have any question for me? All right.
Chairman,
Yes.
I do want to drop back since you said the master plan, and I think Mr. Jonette has a perfectly has given a good example of possibly what we should do. I know we're in the throes of the Lamar Dixon tied in with the recreation on that, and that may be a little. Well, I guess we may, step bounds on both sides of that. If the idea of this parish needs to put a centralized recreation facility, then it probably needs to be studied separate from what the Lamar Dixon situation is. But unfortunately, that money came through with Lamar Dixon, and that's why we were able to do that study with the master plan. But certainly, I'm in agreement with it, and it's something we need to do as a committee, kind of investigate on this particular consulting firm. I'm sure that they might be a little pricey, but one of the things, we probably don't have it in the budget right now, but I'm sure Mr. Martinez may see fit or have a plan to do something as far as maybe being able to acquire some money to look at maybe our overall plan on it. Tommy's shaking his head, so he might want to answer.
Mr. President?
You have the right as a council to do a public opinion poll at any time. Generally, they run, and I'm sure that this is what this was. I don't know if they had meetings or they just polled. I didn't quite hear what you were saying. I don't have a copy in front of me. You can. They had.
It was a pretty complete. It's a pretty complete,
comprehensive
plan, Tommy, they put together with a lot of meetings, and I mean.
But you can do it outreach quicker if you do it by phone, and you make sure that you hit every segment of the parish.
Ask the right questions.
Hit those things. Public hearings and public meetings, I found in the past, are not attended well in this parish unless it's a controversial issue. If somebody has feelings one way or the other, and we can do what you said, but without budget, I think maybe a public opinion poll would be something that we may get a better idea as to what, and just focus on that, and that's relatively inexpensive, and we can hit, a majority, and those polls are relatively accurate in lieu of going and holding 100 public meetings or whatever you said. So, and then from that, you can devise your plan, hopefully.
Yeah. Perhaps, I don't know if y'all would be amenable to maybe at least having some of these people come talk with us. My main concern is that we get an accurate picture as much as possible. And the survey they did had a 95% confidence rate, okay? That means they were 95% confident that what they went back to the people asking them to fund was really what the people wanted. Okay, and that's why they were successful. So, I'm sure we're open to any plausible way to approach this, but the main thing is that we make sure we really capture what the needs are here in the parish. I mean, that's the only way you're going to get a tax to pass is if the people really believe in it and are behind it. So, would it be unrealistic to ask for these people to come talk to us or something? I mean, I'm new to this. I don't know.
I'd like to ask them, to come, but I'd like to ask them how they were able to have 500 people show up at these meetings, because we have 2 meetings and only 10 people showed up.
That was a mailed survey. The 500 was a mailed survey to households, and they got 516 back. So that was a mailed survey, which is somewhat along the lines about what. Right.
Right, George.
Well, the only thing I'll say, you got to understand now, the BREC system is entrenched in East Baton Rouge. It has been supported time and time again with numerous taxes, and they have a lot of services, and that's why they've been successful, because they've kept their facilities up and they have the money to do that. We're an infant, 2 weeks old compared to what BREC is, and so we have to start from the ground up. But I know we have nothing budgeted right now, and of course I didn't want to step on the toes of administration because we doesn't have anything budgeted. But I think it would be advisable for this committee to kind of look for a master plan. I think you have a very good idea, and I think we should look to source something, even if it is using the polling situation that is allowable, and would give us a basis to start from a foundation to branch out and maybe expand that. So that I think it's commendable, and I think we should do it. So we should work on that.
Ms. Sheriff Kenton.
I'd like to echo what Councilman Valentine said. Breck is a 1948 legislatively created recreation district. They do not have to go to their council at the Metro Council to go to the voters for a tax. So we're talking 1948. Councilman Valentine is correct. They have a $70 million budget. They have an endowment fund. There's a Breck Foundation. But I think his biggest point that I would like to echo is we are basically a government that is 12 years old compared to Breck, which is 1948. So we are infant. We are in the infancy stages. You have a master plan from 1993-94, which is the plan that we operate under. It is the plan that Butch Gore was built under. So there is a plan there. A good plan, I don't know. 1,000 people responded to that survey in 93. So you do have a plan out there, and we have given some projections to the parish president, but a master plan like you're talking, Breck had to drop thousands of dollars for that as well. So when you start dropping money for master plans that cost upwards of $35,000 and $40,000, and you go for a master plan, you're taking $40,000 away from the children and the residents that you say we are here to service. So please keep that in mind. I think a master plan is a great idea, but I think you've heard the parish president say that costs money, $65,000 just to assess Lamar Dixon, which is what, luckily, we're piggybacking on that to find out just how deficient the parish is. So everybody's aware that we need to grow. It's how we're going to do that, and I agree, you do need to put something out there for the voters. Thank you.
One point on the 1993 plan, we have a 2- or 3-page document, I think, from you pointing out some of the deficiencies in the plan. So, I mean, the fact that that plan was written.
I'm going to correct that. I'm going to correct that. The deficiencies in that. That was from the previous administration when this plan came up. Okay, that was not anyone from this administration or the last administration. This one, it was given to her in 1994, 95. That's from that administration right there, the first administration when it came to it. Okay.
Right. So I guess the point I'm trying to make is we may still be operating under that plan, but I don't know that we can say that that plan is really.
When she said that, I hate to go on that. That plan was never adopted, as far as I know.
Okay.
No,
so we don't have a master plan at all.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay. And I just want to stay on this here before closing on this here. You know, the community, the last paper on Saturday did do some talk to some citizen out there, and just looking from the comments they made, there are positive things out there on the millage or tax. You know, so just the thing is that we have to come up with a plan that they will be acceptable, that we can go forward with it. And that's all I have to say. Anybody have old business? No old business? New business? No news business? Can I get a motion?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion. All right. Regular meeting adjourned.